For 500 years, people went looking for a city that experts insisted wasn't there. They called it El Dorado, a kingdom of gold, hidden somewhere in the green maze of the Amazon. Conquistadors chased the legend and never came home. In the 1920s, a British explorer named Percy Fawcett walked into that same jungle convinced he'd find what he called the lost city of Z. He was never seen again. For most of the 20th century, the scientific consensus was blunt. There was nothing to find. The Amazon soil was too thin, its climate too punishing to support anything beyond small, scattered, wandering tribes. Whatever Fawcett was chasing, historians agreed, was a fantasy. They were wrong. The proof didn't come from a machete or shovel. It came from above. The technology is called LiDAR, light detection and ranging. Mount it to a plane or a drone, and it fires hundreds of thousands of laser pulses a second straight down at the Earth. Most bounce off leaves and branches, but some slip through the gaps in the canopy, hit the ground, and bounce back. Collect enough of those return signals, and something remarkable happens. A computer filters out everything that isn't dirt, every leaf, every branch, every tree, and rebuilds the bare surface underneath, as if the entire forest had simply been switched off. For archaeologists, that meant something they'd never had before, a way to see through the Amazon. In 2024, a team led by French archaeologist Stephen Rostaing pointed that technology at a stretch of jungle in Ecuador's Upano Valley, in the foothills of the Andes. What came back rewrote a chapter of human history. Buried under the canopy were more than 6,000 earthen platforms, house mounds, plazas, monumental complexes, linked by roads so straight, so deliberately cut, that some ran for miles and crossed each other at clean right angles. Researchers think the roads were too perfect to be purely practical. They may have carried ceremonial weight, processions moving through a landscape built to impress. The whole network covered roughly 300 square kilometers. People had lived, farmed, and built here since around 500 BCE, 2,500 years before a single satellite passed overhead. This wasn't a village, it wasn't a handful of villages either. By Rostaing's own assessment, this was something else entirely, a true network of cities organized at a scale nobody had thought the Amazon could sustain. The discovery, published in the journal Science, forced a reckoning. For a century, the working assumption was that the Amazon had always been close to untouched wilderness, that any peoples living there must have stayed small and nomadic by necessity. The Upano Valley said otherwise. The Amazon had engineers, it had urban planners, it had a civilization the modern world had simply never thought to look for. And if one hidden civilization could go unnoticed for 1,500 years, what else was still down there? That question is exactly where our story picks up, because right now, in real time, a new chapter is still being written. And it didn't start in a research lab. It started with two professors from Missouri State University who never planned to make headlines. In the second half of 2025, archaeologists Dr. Daniel Pierce and Chris Bodine began combing through publicly available LiDAR data, some of it originally collected by NASA for an entirely different purpose, tracking the health of the rainforest canopy. Buried inside that data, they noticed patterns that didn't belong. Long straight lines, geometric shapes, the unmistakable fingerprint of human hands etched into the earth and grown over for centuries, geoglyphs. They named the effort GOJIRA, Geoglyph Observations Through Jungle Imagery in Remote Amazonia, and they didn't have a research grant behind them. They crowdfunded it themselves. In December 2025, with barely enough money raised to make the trip, Pierce and Bodine flew into Manaus, gateway to the Brazilian Amazon, then traveled nearly 200 miles up the Rio Negro by boat. From there, on foot, machetes in hand, they pushed roughly a week deep into terrain no archaeologist had ever formally surveyed. A parallel effort explored a second site hundreds of miles to the west, near Rio Branco, in Brazil's Acre State, and what they found, by their own account, was more than they expected. Geoglyphs in places the map said they shouldn't be. Evidence, still largely undisclosed, that this supposedly untouched stretch of rainforest may never have been untouched at all. Here's where the story shifts from documentary history to developing news. As of early 2026, Pierce and Bodine haven't published in a peer-reviewed journal. That process can take years, and they've said that's exactly where their data is headed, toward the same kind of publications that turned the Upano Valley from a rumor into accepted history.